Welcome to Xiamen. I'm standing in front of Winspace factory and I spent a day with the Winspace CEO. In this video you will see how Winspace frames are made. Let's check it out.
Activate.
We are in the Winspace factory with the Winspace CEO and he will show us around.
Yeah.
So Steven, it's
Yeah.
super nice to meet you finally.
Yeah. Really good to meet you here.
Perfect. Yeah.
So here is our in-house production facilities. And this room is for carbon cuttings. Usually the carbon fiber need to be stored in a fridge.
Yeah.
We are going to go inside, you feel the temperature.
And that's because carbon fiber has a shelf life, right?
Because we already prepare the carbon fiber
Yeah.
with resin. So all this room is temperature is controlled.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you can't use it, the carbon fiber 6 months after because that's too late, right? It expires almost.
Yeah. If only pure carbon, you can stock maybe for years. But if you put a resin together,
Resin.
we call pre-pack.
Pre-pack.
Pre-pack, and then it will be have like a lifetime.
I see. I
Okay.
see. So then you take the carbon out from the fridge and you
Yeah.
place it on this machine that
Yeah.
cuts individual layers of carbon.
Yeah, we have two kinds of machine. One machine we can cut into like a square pieces.
So that's the machine over there.
And this machine is automatic
Yeah.
for different shapes. So in that way you can reduce some weight. So you don't need to own like a 4-piece. You
Yeah.
can cut it into like just the shapes.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is because you can't recycle carbon fiber, right? You can't take the small pieces and recycle them. It's not possible.
Usually not so far it's difficult for
Yeah,
recycle.
yeah.
So you can feel the temperature.
Yeah.
Quicker.
Yeah,
Go
it's
inside.
You can close the door. Close the door.
Because okay. So we all use Toray carbon fibers.
From Japan.
Yeah, from Japan.
So
And then
T800, T1100.
Later I will show you different carbon fibers.
Yeah.
You can feel like stiffness is different,
Oh.
totally different.
Great.
So usually the color is different. So we have different color, that means different fibers.
I see.
Okay. Green, red.
Yeah, here is green.
Here is our really important process of layup. Layup.
See.
So you can see staff is doing the hyper handlebars.
Yes. And the hyper handlebars are made of 100 pieces, more or less, or even more.
Yes.
Wow. Wow.
And then it's one piece.
And then it's molded in one piece. Yeah. So they have the instructions on this
instruction.
paper.
Yes.
Right. So they know which piece belongs where.
The sticky areas means rising already. Rising. And then you see we have small holes in the fibers.
Oh, yeah, really.
Okay. And then we also use the silicone. Inside the handlebar, we use silicone bag. Silicone, you can make the inner surface pretty smooth. When you do layup, two things pretty important. One thing is size. If your like size too small, too big, when you mold the products could be result some problem. So we need to control the sizes.
And you said this is one piece. So
Yes.
why do you have Winspace Zero handlebar that are 3-piece and this one is just one piece?
Yes, usually for like a mass production, if you make 3 pieces, easy for production.
Easier.
The mold can be smaller. And then also the process can be easier.
I see.
Here you see the M6 fork.
M6 fork.
Yeah, fork.
Currently, you are manufacturing G3 and M6 here
Yeah,
in your factories.
Yes.
So you are outsourcing T1600, SLC5.
Yeah, we have some good partners. Like some partner, we have some shares in their manufacturers. So just because now our supply is big. And then we work really closely with some partners.
And do you plan to in-house those frames as well, SLC5 and future frames? Do you want to manufacture them here in the future?
Yeah, in future, I think our high end will be all produced in house. This is EPS.
This is EPS.
This is EPS. So the process in the past, we call it only airbag. So pretty inner, pretty soft. So like frames 10 years ago, you can see lots of like twinkles inside the frame because the airbag can be soft. It's not solid.
Yeah.
And now, and then people industry are going to use EPS like this. Yeah, and then also now we have new like technology of silicons.
And that's what I'm interested in because it looks like there is a lot of manual labor. And is it possible to make it simpler?
You mean like a by machine?
I don't know, but you said that you are experimenting with new technology. So
Yes.
what is this technology called, and is it good for mass production?
Yes.
Something beyond EPS?
Now people also try to use some like a plastic for like a lower cost.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Because when you have a silicon, you still need to open the molds for silicon. Also add to the tooling cost.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you want to hire more staff, is it difficult to find them here in Xiamen?
In Xiamen, I think because Xiamen is a carbon industry town, so not difficult to find. But usually we will also cultivate new staff.
How long does it take to train somebody to do this? Because it looks so overwhelming.
If I train you, probably like in the day one you can make one handlebar. But if for like people who already had 10 years experience, maybe they can make 10 handlebars. So it's just take time to to put the different carbon fibers in right positions.
I mean, when we are looking at her, she's so quick and she knows
so
everything.
Already SOP already in her brain.
And each person specializes in specific items. So, for example, she will be doing frames only.
Yes.
And you have people for seat stays.
Yes.
And you have people for handlebars.
Yeah, by that way, more efficient. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
And do you also plan having a person for individual frame sizes? So you are absolutely precise, or she does
She can all size. All size. Yes. And then here I show you different carbon fibers. I'm 40.
Okay. There's a military grade carbon that's really hard to get.
Yes. And then usually for carbon fiber, you have like a T series and M series. So one is for strength, another is for stiffness. So we need to combine stiffness and strength.
So what's the difference between stiffness and strength?
Yeah, stiffness is just when you push some like a deformation. So the unit is a Newton per meter milli. So how much force you press, and then how much deformation the products are going to have.
Okay.
But for strength, it means when you put your fixed force, and then what's the limit to break.
In which frame areas do you use the M grade carbon, and in which areas do you use the T grades?
Yeah, it's just our like secret. That's the key point in the menu. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So when you see a lot of manufacturers doing carbon fibers, and why like high-end products is high-end and low-end is low-end, because really need to control every details. So details, I think details result for high qualities.
Yeah.
Later you can see my low finish. I think our low finish is pretty good quality.
Okay.
Really clean.
We will see.
Really clean.
We will see.
Yeah, you can see. You can see.
So this is the outside part, as you
Here
mentioned.
is just for the shape.
So how this works? He takes the silicone, he starts applying the individual layers of carbon, individual sheets, and then he places it here.
Yeah. Yes. Like now we put because somewhere you need to make the joint, so you need to put for the shape. It's a plastic, and then not easy for him to to make the joint.
The connection, the joint. So this specific part, it won't go to the oven.
No.
It's just to help him make the shape accurate. Based on the sizing and everything else.
Yes. So here, you know why? Because you will need to put the seat clamp, internal seat clamp there. So we'll make some like connection there.
Okay.
Also, I want to show you another machine.
Vacuum machine.
Vacuum machine.
This is a machine where you place the frame to.
Frame, fork, handlebar, everything.
Anything after this process, and it sucks out the bubbles?
Bubbles inside the layup will result in like small holes.
Still using two pieces for creating the entire frame.
Yes.
This is because of manufacturing process is easier than having the complete frame.
Yeah. If you like a one-piece frame, you have advantages. You also have disadvantages. That means if you make a one piece, usually the mold is big, and then when you hit the mold, the temperature cannot go even inside the frames. Stone tube is deeper in the mold, so when you cannot bake the frame pretty even.
So it's still better to do it this way.
Yeah,
to have
I think
two,
so.
two pieces together
Yeah.
instead of just the one piece, because
Yeah.
the manufacturing process or the baking process might not be as accurate when you have one piece.
Yeah, it just makes sure heat can go inside really even. Unless you say your rears they already baked,
I see.
but your front triangle still low, and then the joints can be really fragile.
Now?
Let's go. Okay, we finished. Yeah.
Okay, wow.
And usually we also control the time from the fridge. Yeah, and then till the mold usually within 7 days.
7 days.
Yeah, 7 days.
So from the sheet to the mold, 7
Yeah,
days.
7 days.
Okay.
Yes.
It's also a little bit colder here. This is to preserve the resin and
Yes.
the carbon
Yeah.
sheets.
Yes. So this is we open the mold.
Yeah.
Our M6.
And we can see the remnants of resin. The
Yes.
resin melts. The resin melts and goes away.
Yeah.
So
Peter, you will see the finish very clean.
it's smooth.
Yeah.
Almost no need for sanding.
Yeah. No need sanding.
Almost. it's so many parts that they have to put together and also
Yes.
disassemble.
Yes. Then the air pressure can really push the layup to the wall of the mold, and then you can the layup can become really tight.
Yeah. And how long does it have to stay in the oven?
1 hour.
1 hour.
Yeah, 1 hour.
So would you say this is the most challenging part of the process, or is it more the layup part? What do you think is?
Yeah, I think most
challenging?
important is the layup and,
The layup.
and molding.
And molding.
Molding really important. When your temperature goes strange, when your air pressure, and when you cannot fit the layup correctly to sit in the mold, could be have a problem.
How is it possible that this frame will cost around $1,500 US, but then you have frames for $300 US? Where is the difference made?
Yeah, some poor quality. Firstly, use really cheap fibers, and then usually when they bake the frame, maybe only 30 minutes.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay, show you. Okay.
that's amazing.
Good.
That's amazing.
It's really fresh.
Thumbnail.
Really fresh.
It's hot. It's hot.
Oh. But you see, when we take out the resin, the frame is really clean.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can easily take.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you can see here they almost have no carbon, which is a good thing. And here they have just a little bit of carbon. But in some other factories, or if they are not good enough with their molds and the layup, they will have sheets of carbon and a lot of waste.
A lot of all carbon go all inside the gap of the molds,
Yeah.
and then you need to remove the carbon fibers.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's really not a good control.
Yeah. And here they basically only have the resin and
Only
just a
resin.
little bit of carbon.
Yes.
So now the frame goes to sanding.
Sanding.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's
sanding.
go. Let's go.
Okay. For frame, we have 24 items to check.
You have 24
24
steps for a
items,
frame.
yeah, to check a frame. For every fork, we have 16 items.
Okay. Wow.
After we mold each frame, we will put the frame into the water to see any bubbles
Over
come out. Yeah. We baked just now,
Yeah.
and then we will put for inspection. We will put it inside the water. Okay. Okay.
So there is a bubble over here.
It's normal. It's normal.
Okay.
If somewhere broke, if your silicone balloon broke, that means the air pressure is not enough. The frame could be have defective.
I see.
Yeah, and now this one is perfect.
Good.
Yeah, yeah. Usually we need to take out all the silicon outside, and then like for like cleaning, we also ultrasonic. So cleaning the inside.
After the molding process, the frame goes to the water, then it goes here. They will take out the silicone, and then you place it in the ultrasonic
Yeah.
bath. This is where they are preparing the rear seat stays for the bonding process.
Yes.
I noticed when I'm building bikes, rear seat stays are the area when I want to pull the wire through. That's where I get stuck the most often because there is always this connection.
Yeah.
So this is something you still have to improve, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let's improve. We really need all your feedbacks from you, from the customers, to keep improving.
You hear these guys? If you have feedback, then send it to them, and
Yeah,
hopefully
sure.
they will be able to improve.
And that's like we work customer together to make wonderful products.
Yeah.
Yes. The frame together, we need to put it in the oven.
Oven again.
Yeah, oven again.
So this is the area where you bond the rear seat stays,
Yeah,
the rest
yeah.
of the frame.
Yeah.
This is the connection.
Yes.
And then you have to mold it again.
Yeah, and then we will also wrap carbon fiber outside.
Yes. Now I'm holding a frame after sanding, and this is before it goes to painting factory. That at the painting factory they will do another round of sanding, and they will make the entire frame even smoother, so they can actually apply the paint. So this is the upcoming or the new M6. So now I'm holding the hyper handlebar that was taken out of the mold.
Yes.
And now we can see that these are the remnants of resin. So
Resin,
what
yeah.
it basically will do that they will take it
Yeah.
away
Yeah.
like this.
Yeah. And then you see the finish is very clean finish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we can also see, because I already saw the mold for hyper handlebar, it consists of, I think, 4 or 5 pieces, right? So here is one mold. And each piece of the mold
put together
creates one part. So
Yeah.
it's very well visible here.
You know why? Because we also use one mold can use for different sizes.
Yeah.
So like stand, we can have different block inside the mold to make different sizes.
That's smart. So you don't need like hundreds of molds combinations.
Yeah, and then one thing is when you like put the carbon fiber into the mold, so your carbon fiber cannot go inside the gaps of mold. But so you see the handlebar is very clean.
Yes.
We don't like carbon fiber don't let escape through the gap or the two pieces of mold.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Once I received the hyper handlebar,
Yes.
it had a different diameter here
Yeah.
compared to the left side.
Yeah.
So I had to sand it to be able to put my shifters on it. How is it possible that something like this happened? How is it possible that
No, usually
this side was...
No, usually I think it's painting.
It was a...
Painting.
So of the mold,
Yeah.
the tolerances are always the same, almost.
Yeah, you have two molds, but if something go into the gaps, the size can be changed.
Yeah,
Can be changed.
I see.
So it's a kind of control.
I see.
And also when you do painting, the painting will also like can change a little bit the diameter.
Yes.
Okay. This is our hyper. Second generation hyper bar.
Yeah. This has
Y shape.
a raised stack.
Yeah, raised
right?
stack. Yeah.
And it's also one piece.
Yeah, one piece.
One piece.
Uh-huh.
On this palette, you can see multiple molds, and these are for the new Hyper 2 handlebar. So the way it works is that they combine them together before they start the molding process. Then you get the complete handlebar out of the mold. So it's not like they are connecting one part of the handlebar with the other, but they first have to complete the mold from these pieces, and then they can create the handlebar. Now I'm holding the Hyper 2 handlebar and also the gravel handlebar, and the difference between them is that this one is made of 3 pieces. So the way it works is that they have to glue it and use a few sheets of carbon to connect it together, while this is the Hyper 2 handlebar and it's one piece. So previously I showed you multiple forms, but those forms are put together and then you get a single piece handlebar. This one, 3 pieces, this one, 1 piece. So here are your testing facilities.
Yeah, facility for fatigues, even for stiffness, for strength. Yeah.
So you take.
So you see a lot of like prototype.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is just some R&D. We do some R&D. Yes.
So you basically find the limits of this frame, and then
Yes.
you are trying to figure out
You
what
need to-
happened and why
need
it
to-
broke over
Yes.
that place.
Yes. Need to find the weakness in the frame, and then we adjust the layout.
Yeah.
So handlebar, you have so many sizes, and we need to test every size. You can stand here on the fork. You try.
I can stand on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's there.
Let's try.
Yeah. So this is M6 fork.
This is the
M6.
latest model.
Yeah, yeah.
The fork of the M6.
M6. Yes.
Now I'm gonna try to stand on it and
Yeah.
see what happens.
Yeah.
Here?
Yeah. Okay.
Not here?
Yeah. Better in the center. Okay. Okay.
Wow. It's I'm around 69, 70 kilograms, so
Yeah.
it's strong.
But usually the fork is not a least deduction force.
Yeah.
But we just want to show people it's strong enough.
Yeah, it's deep, it's
Yeah.
bold. Yeah.
Okay. And then we will also show you the stiffness. Test the stiffness for every fork. And then if you have something defective, the line can go up and then can drop a little bit sharply.
I see.
If the line can go smooth, means it's good quality.
So you take every fork, goes
Yeah,
through this
yeah,
machine.
every fork. Yeah, every fork. So here you can see the deformation. Here is the force. So we put about 700, about 70 kilo force.
And how this differs from the ISO standards?
So they don't test this
Force.
way.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's our Winspace standard.
And where is the force applied? Do you push out?
This way.
So you
Back
push-
force. Yeah, back force. So now we make the front part stiffness is pretty higher than rear triangle because people want to stand and want to, dash,
Yeah.
spring.
Push the power.
Usually more weight is on the front.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
So now we
So
are
for-
at 700.
700. Yeah, and then you can see the line go really clean. So usually the deformation is within 8 milli. If you put 700 Newton, means 70 kilo weight to the fork.
Yeah.
So the deformation need to be like less than 8 milli.
8 millimeters?
Yeah. And this fork is old fork. So we tested so many times. So now the data is not because this one is already tested
was
so many
tested.
times. Yeah, tested. And we also pick up a front frame. One frame out of 100
One
for
frame out of 100.
mass production to test everything.
So once you test a frame, you can't send it to
No,
the customer. Because,
no. We will destroy it.
Yeah.
And we will also do the destroy test.
Destroy test.
Destroy test.
Oh.
Yeah. And this one is our M6, and this one is
G3.
G3.
And the white paint shows you the defects.
Yeah.
If something happens, the white
Yeah,
paint
you can
shows
see the crack.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to show you the
Head tube.
high tube impact test. So the standard is 212. I mean the height, and then the weight is 22.5 kilometer. Okay, let's go.
Ready?
Yeah, perfect. So when you have some cracks, this will not jump. It's just a one-time finish.
Yeah.
When you can jump, it means the frame is perfect.
That was a huge boom.
So here is the low finish of M6, and we are going to show you the X-ray. We are going to see the inner of the wall.
Yeah.
And usually we examine here every fork, every handlebar.
Every fork, every
Every
handlebar.
handlebar before shipment. But for
also
frame,
every frame?
No frame. When we do R&D, we do like a quality check. We will scan frames.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you don't scan every frame, or do you?
No. I think no need because the most important dangerous parts is fork and handlebar. So we need to make sure 100%.
I see.
Yeah, for fork, because we already have some stiffness test. You see the wall is pretty clean. Okay, so it's good. You see all the wall is no gaps.
No gaps.
Okay,
And,
no
and,
gaps.
and this part over here, it's
Yeah,
the
it's
hole
a
for
hole.
the cable.
Yeah, hole. So here already 59 meter midi. So you can see the wall, some gaps
Yeah.
between layups.
And this has to be discarded. Right?
Yeah. And then our standard is only 1 and 10
10 millimeters.
millimeters.
So 1
yeah,
centimeter.
yeah.
This is the first step of the painting process. So now the guy is sanding the frame to make it as smooth as possible. And you can also see that they have this suction mechanism. So all the dust is sucked from the bottom and it goes away, and it's better for his breathing, obviously. And this is the first layer of the paint. So we will go to the next room and see how it continues. This is the room where they apply the first layer of the paint, or where they paint the frame and fork and other components. So now he is finishing the first, not protective layer, but the first layer of the actual paint. Now we get the unprecedented access to the baking room. It's super hot, it's like 70 degrees Celsius, but you can see they are baking the paint so it won't come off. Wow, it's very hot, we have to close it. Whoa! We learned from the leader of this factory that the base color, the gray one, takes up to an hour to bake. Simple colors like the blue, red, white, etc., they will take about 20 to 30 minutes. But the more complex the paint job is, the more steps are required. This is the fourth step of the painting process. So this is the room where they apply all the stickers. She placed them on the frame, carefully positioned them, and then after this step, they will go to the baking machine and they will apply another layer of paint that will be the final one, the protective one, and they will bake it again. So the baking process is being done after each step of the painting process. In this room they have those complete frames, completely painted ones, so they will be ready to be packed and shipped to the customers. Now we are in front of the workshop where they assemble wheels, complete bikes and everything else. So let's take a look. So here they have a couple of employees assembling the wheel sets, making sure that the spoke tension is correct, that the trueness is correct. I tried this a couple of times. I was able to make the wheel true, but I can tell you that it requires a lot of patience. Here this lady is doing a quality control check, so it seems like each wheel set is going through this machine. Everything is digital, so they have all the numbers in the computer and they can see whether employees over there are doing a good job or not. So here they have the finished rims and they have them here before the assembly of the spokes and hubs. So this guy, you can see now he's starting a new wheel. So he puts the hub in the center. Now he takes all the spokes and starts to assemble them. Here they have the halo spokes. So their system is unique because you can actually replace it if you break one spoke or two spokes. Hopefully it won't happen, of course, but yeah, this is where they have it. This is the bicycle assembly line. This is where they assemble complete bikes. So let's take a look at how they do it. So you can see that they have multiple stations here. They have like 10 of them to speed up the entire process. And this is a very special Winspace M6. This one is just raw carbon one. It won't be sold. This is for one guy I just met. This guy assembles the Winspace G3 gravel bike, but this one will be paired with just road tires, so that's an interesting choice. And it seems like they are building it on Shimano GRX. So yeah, you can see a Pro at work. And there is another one. Here is the C5 Aero. Over here they have all the parts needed, so Shimano components, wheel sets, everything. And when the bike is ready, it goes there to the bicycle inspection. So they check everything, whether it's set up properly, so you can be sure that when you receive the bike, it's in the best shape possible. So this bike is almost ready to be packed in the box. To protect the frame against any scratches, you can see that he's attaching this protective foam. So that's a nice touch. And of course, I would say even necessary one, because you know, logistic companies sometimes don't handle packages too well. Around me you can see three types of boxes. This huge one, this one is for Chinese market. That's because the shipping here in China is a little bit less expensive, and also Chinese customers just want to take out their bikes out of the box and just start riding it. This is the box for international shipments of complete bikes, and this one, this is the smallest one. That's where you have a frame set only. Now we are entering the finished goods warehouse, and this is where they should have, wow, all the wheel sets ready to be shipped. So wow, this one is huge. I estimate that hundreds of wheel sets are here. Wow. Here they have the end caps and also free hub bodies. These are for XDR. Here they have Shimano HG free hub bodies. Everything you need for your wheel set. So I was struck by this color because this is the first time I see it, and I was like, what frame is it? So I took a look, and this looks like the T1600, and it's a new color. Look at that. It also features the new logo. So yeah, let me know down in the comments below, how do you like it? This is the Tour de France edition. Look at that. We just discussed with my cameraman that when you want to sell complete bikes, you suddenly need many more items in your warehouse. So for example, here they have the Shimano components like cranks and cranksets, and over there they have tires. So yeah, if you think about it, it's much more complicated to organize everything. Yeah, especially if you want to build complete bikes, because the number of parts you actually need is much bigger than when you sell only wheel sets or frame sets. In the same building where they have the assembly line, they also have the marketing and sales department, finance, human resources. So it's really interesting to see how Winspace grew into such a big company, because they currently have about 150 to 200 employees. This is Winspace's new photo studio. This is where they take pictures of all their products. They moved here this year, and right now they are doing a photo shoot of the new TT bike. This is the first time I see it, so we will definitely check it out from a close-up. These guys already did a photo shoot yesterday, and I'm looking forward to see their pictures and videos. This is the other part of the studio, and from here they are shooting live videos to TikTok and the Chinese equivalent of TikTok. So basically every day their online team is taking live videos and presenting their products live to the audience. This is something we saw at the Shanghai Bike Expo, where Fun Resale had this entire booth and production, and they presented their products there. In the studio I found these two new colorways for the T1600. And you can tell me, how do you like them? This was Winspace Factory Tour. Big thanks to Winspace for showing us around. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing. It's the best way to support this channel. Thank you, and see you in the next one. Ciao!